Welcome guys, I hope you're fine. So today we're going to look at module 2, which entails control flow, and uh, we have subtopics such as user inputs, conditional statements, loops, control statements, and list comprehensions. So this module covers user inputs, conditional statements, loops, control statements, and list comprehension. So each section will include explanations, examples, and comments to help you understand the concept step by step. So let's dive in. So first step, we want to look at user input. So Python allows programs to interact with users by accepting inputs using the input function. So this is essential for making dynamic programs where users can enter values instead of hard-coded ones. So to get user input, we normally use the following function. So the input function always returns a string, even if the user enters the number. So I believe by now you know what a string is. So anything that is typed or anything that is in between the quoted or anything in between the quotation marks, that is a string by nature. So Python will assume that is a string. Any like assuming a quoted statement from your president, from your leader, from your parent, from your friend. So that's example for a string. So you can store the input in a variable and use it in your program. So in this example, we're asking the user to give us his or her name. So for example, the name is equals to input, and then you give a hint, enter your name. So age is equals to input, enter your age as a hint. So all those variables will be stored as a string unless we alter them. So we can as well print by concatenating these strings, because previously we've done examples on how we can concatenate one string to another. So we can print our final stuff like print hello plus name, your age, years old. So remember, instead of doing this function, we can still also use an f string, where we can modify this code to look fancy. So at my far top right, you can see this snippet. This is what Python code looks like. So this is the example we're going to do in Python in a short while. So meanwhile, these are the key points under user input. So the program waits for the user to type input, and then the input is stored as a string. So and you can print or manipulate the input in the program. So which means manipulating is that you can change this age to be an integer instead of a string. So let us head to VS Code and see the magic. Welcome to Python user input example. So we have basic input examples. For example, name is equals to input, enter your name as a hint. So age is equals to int input, enter your age. So we note that this one will return a string. So we need to print hello plus name plus your age. So years old. So you can also take numeric input with conversion. So example, height is equals to float input, enter height in meters, and you can also ask the use of their weight. So float input, enter weight in kgs, and BMI is equals to weight over height squared. So print your BMI in 1 decimal places. So we'll have to run this line together. So multiple inputs can also be entered, for example, and this is what we call unpacking. So first, last is equal to input, enter variable. So if we print our customized message as welcome, first name, last name, so we shall see as will be print the overall result. So we can also do manual selection. For example, we need to choose something. So for example, number one, check balance. You can also deposit. Number three, we can do withdrawal, and number four, we can create our input function. So choice is equal to input, your choice 1 2 3. So for you use F string, you selected option and then the choice. So if you you can also do some password input and the password will be hidden, so using get pass library. So for example, our password is equal to getpass enter your password. So printing the password, we found out that the password will not be shown. So let me run the code one by one. So by module 2.py, we run. So we start over. So the first name was Peter. Age is the age of Peter, let me say 24, and height, let me say 1.9, and kgs was 80. So now program moves to the next program. So it's asking us the first and last name. So we need to put in first and last name. So for example, Harry, then Potter. Then it says that your name. So it says welcome, Harry Potter. So now we're moving to our last project on choices using input function. So here we're being asked to choose. Remember, line number 26 is asking for user to choose one line of statement from the above. So we choose, let me say I want to deposit. So deposit is selection number 2. So I choose it. So you selected option 2. So you selected option 2. And now we move to password input. So getpass is one of the libraries that Python uses, and also the Django framework, as well as Flask framework, as you shall see in future, to encrypt user input. So in this section, we're going to look at control flow in Python. So conditional statement in particular allow us to execute different blocks of code based on certain conditions. So keep the Python conditions include if, elif, and else statements. So and each statement is explained as follows. So for example, if will execute a block of code if the condition is true. So, and if the condition is not true, then we move on to else, elif. So elif allows us checking multiple conditions. For example, you want to check a student grade. So for example, we have different scores like 70, we have 80, we have 90, we have 100. So you will be redirected to respective mark or respective score based on the student performance. So you can also look at else. So else executes if none of the conditions are true. So it's like you are terminating your loop, or you are terminating your conditions. We have like 3 examples, and we'll have to look at them using Python program. So example 1 here, age. So we need the age of the user. So, and if the age is less than 18, for example, we need to print you are a minor. Elif age is equal to 18, which means the age is exact 18. Then you print you are you just became an adult. So this statement you can use your own statement, but this is my preference. So else print you are an adult. So anything greater than 18, that is the result will be you are an adult. But anything below 18, the result will be you are a minor. So now we can also look at nested statement or nested if statement. So nested, it means that you have if statement within if statement. So you are nesting them, or you are chaining them. So for example, num is equals to, so we are taking the num from the user. So num for number, because it's good to use descriptive words while naming your variables. So num is equals to int input, enter your number, or enter a number. So int, remember this int, we are manipulating the string input to be converted to an integer. So, and we want to test the condition. So if num is greater than 0, so it means that the number, if the user entered the number that is greater than 0, then we need to prompt our program to give us the result that the number is positive. And if the number that was given, we want to test if the number that was given out by the user was an even number. So this num percentage 2 is equal to 0. It means that if the number that was given by the user uh, uh, when divided by 2 and the remainder is 0, then it means that that one is an even number. So we need to print even number. Else we need to provide as odd number, and else we print not a positive number. So if the above two conditions are not met, then we need to have our final statement which says not a positive number. For example, if the user gave a negative number, then that will be a negative number, not a positive number. So for example, if you want to do the opposite of this, if num percentage 2 is equal to 0, then instead of saying 0, you can use 1 instead. So to mean that if there will be a remainder, so it means that that number will be odd number. So now we interchange this thing. We say instead of even number, we say odd number. Here we say even number, etc. So moving ahead to our third snippet, we can say grade is equals to int input, enter your grade. So if the grade is greater than or equal to 90, we say we need the program to say that an A, or you can say, you can add more words. So to be more descriptive, you can say you scored an A. Elif grade is equals to, elif grade is greater than or equal to 80. We tell the program to print that was a B grade. Elif grade was greater than or equal to 70, we print that was a C grade. Elif the grade was greater than or equal to 60, then we print the student scored a D, else print an F. So there are so many ways in which you can customize this code of ours. For example, we can test for errors. For example, maybe the user did not insert a number, so which means that one will be part of error handling. So this one is just basics. So as we progress, we will have to understand that in real life there are so many errors that are caused by human beings. So even in this situation, you might find someone who did not read the instruction well. So instead of inserting the number, you find that the person is inserting a, for example, instead of a number. Let us head to VS Code and see how we can solve all these three problems. Hello, in this section we proceeding with the user input, and now we look at for example, the age is equal to int input, enter your age. So asking the user for their age and typecast it to an integer. Remember, we started with the int. So if age is equal to 18, it is less than 18, we need to print you are a minor. So the program will be executed if the age is less than 18. So if the age is exact 18, then the program will print as you just became an adult. So it will be executed if the age is exactly 18. So else print you are an adult. So the program will execute if age is greater than 18. So let me type here my password as, let me just say my password 1 2 3 4 5 6. So you can see nothing's happening, but let me just press my enter button. So it says password accepted but not shown. Exactly. Hi guys, in this section we're going to look at loops as our second part of the module 2. So loops allow us to execute a block of code multiple times. So for example, we have a number of loops, and we have categories of loops under loops. So the first category is for loop. So the for loop iterates over a sequence like a list, tuple, or a string. If I say iterate, it's like moving over until it reaches the end. Moving over until it reaches the end. For example here, for I in range 5, print iteration. This is just our statement, then I. So what this statement says is that for value ranging between 0 to 4, so this one will be 0 to 4, because Python starts indexing from position 0, and then it will not iterate to the exact number, which means it takes n minus 1, which n minus 1 is 5 minus 1. So it will be from 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So if you print I, it means that you will print 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So you can also iterate over a list. So for example, fruit is equal to apple, banana, and cherry. So for fruit, in fruit, we print fruit. So we will have apple, banana, and cherry. So let us move to VS Code and see the magic. So we're looking for loop, and we're going to look at counting a function. So for I in range, that's value ranging from 0 to 4. So 5 is excluded because it's n minus 1. So we need to print the value of I. Okay, let us run and see the output. So let me run and check the output. Py module 2.py. So you see the output. Iteration 1 is 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So this is the output of our program. So we're going to look at for loop, and that is iterating over a list. So for example, we have fruit is equal to apple, banana, and cherry. So for fruit, in fruits, we want to print the value of each fruit, and the output will be apple, banana, and cherry. In this section, we want to look at the second part of loops called while loop. So the while loop is different from for loop. So the while loop executes as long as the condition is true. Mark my words well. While loop executes the condition as long as it is true. So for example, count is equal to 0. While count is less than 5, we need to print count, and we need to add a line of statement called count plus is equal to 1. So this one is like, it's the same as saying count is equal to count plus 1. So this one is a shorthand of writing count is equal to count plus 1. So in Python you can say, even in Java, for Java enthusiast, this is how if you want to increment, this is what you do. If you want to decrement, you just need to put here a minus sign. So this is what this code says. So while while count is less than 5, we need to print count. So assuming we don't have this last line, this program will run forever. Will never stop. So that's why we need to be keen with while loop. While loop can kill your machine as you just watch. So it will consume all your memory if you don't control your while loop. So if we don't use this line, the loop will execute forever. It will never stop. It will continue because 0 will always be less than 5. Even if you move in any other country, it will remain to be the fact that 0 is less than 5, and it will continue to print. So we are telling the program, if you check the value of count and you find that it is less than 5, then you print the value of count. So it means it will print 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5 all the way. But now we have a trap that we will set to this program. So we need to make sure that our program terminates. So we say count plus equals 1. So the first check is that the program runs once and checks until it finds that 5 or count is less than 5. So it prints 5. And now the next iteration, it's being told that you need to add 1. Now it will be 1. So, and again 1 is less than 5. So it will go to another iteration. So then the next iteration it will be 2. Then again 2 is less than 5. Then we move to third iteration. Third iteration is 3. So 3 is less than 5. Again fourth iteration. 4 is less than 5. Again 5 iteration. 5 is not less than 5. So it will, if you add 1, so it means that it will be 6. So after the program reaches 6, then it means that the program will terminate automatically. I hope that is well explained. So using while loop, you can also use while loop with the break statement. So break statement, from the layman's way of understanding, break simply means break. Yes, to stop. So for example, we have x value with which is initialized as 0. So while true, so while x is equal to 0, you need to print x. So it's a fact that x, we've not changed the value of x to any other value. It is 0, so it will print x. It will print 0 forever. So we want to increment. So we want to add 1 to that. So it will be, but the first iteration will be 0 plus 1, which will be 1. So we are going to look at while loop with break statement. For example, x is equal to 0, and while true, that is an infinite loop until a break statement is triggered. So we need to print x, and we need to increment the value of x by 1. So if x is greater than 5, so we need to break. So it will exit the loop when x exceeds 5. Let me print the value and see what's happening here. By module 2 practice and run. So we find the value is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are the values that have been printed from our stuff. Yes, welcome to section 3 of module 2. And in this section, we're focusing on control statements. So control statements alter the flow of a loop or a conditional statement. So you can equate control statement to a traffic police, where the traffic police can decide the behavior of movements of the traffic. So he or she can stop the traffic at any time, maybe to doing traffic checks and any other assignments as maybe directed by the senior officers. So the same way, control statements help do some control checks inside our programs. So let us focus on break statement. So for example, using break statement, it exits the loop completely. So which means that as long as we use the break statement and the condition is met, then the program will automatically stop or break. So for example, in this snippet, you are seeing for I, but I'm just using I as a convention. But you can use your name, for example, for John, for Peter, for Mary, and any other name, any other fund name that you would like, for Y, for X. But now I'm just using the default one for I in range 10. So range 10, it means that values from 0 all the way to 9. That's what it means. So if I is equal to 5, break. So it means that we will start from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and at the moment the program sees number 5, then it stops continuing its evaluation. So it will stop prematurely. So long as it sees 5, the number 5 coming to its memory, it will stop prematurely because you set that condition. So let us see this in the VS Code. We're going to look at break statement. So for I in range 10, so if I is equal to 5, we need to break. So this will loop, the loop will exit entirely when I equals to 5. So if we print I, the loop will surely exit when I will equal to value of 5. So let me print let me show you the output of our program. So by module module 2.py practice. So if we run, sorry, I'm having syntax error, so I will print the output by module 2 practices.py and to get the result as 0 through 4. So in this continuation slide, we're going to look at continue statement. So continue statement, it means that it will skip some of the program that the user wants the computer to skip. So it skips the current iteration and moves to the next one. So for example, in a class, you can say if you scored a B plus and above, you will join the rest of the school members for a trip. So this means that if the student did not meet the threshold that was set by the school, then the student will not be able to go for a school trip. Now for example, here we have an example in this code snippet. For I in range 5, if I is equals to, we need to continue. So it means that we will skip the value of I is equal to 2 and we'll print the rest, which means we'll print 0, we'll print 1, we'll print 3, we'll print 4. Yes, then the program will terminate. So let us see what happens here. Now we're going to look at continue statement. So for I in range 5, so if I is exact 2, we need to continue. So we skip printing when I is 2. So the program will skip printing when I is equals to 2. So which means it will continue to print, but it will skip 2. So let me run the program and see the output. Module 2 practices.py. So we get 2 has been skipped, so it's 0, 1, 3 and 4. You get that we don't have 5. Pass statement. So pass statement is like the program is ignoring some part of the statement, like you are ignoring somebody else, like you are ignoring your enemy. It's like you're ignoring something that you are not interested in. So for example here, so pass statement acts as a placeholder when no action is needed. So if you don't have any business with a certain staff, so then there's no need giving them the attention. So example in this snippet, for I in range 5, if I is equals to 3, then we need to pass. We just need to print the value that we are interested in, that is 0, 1, 2 and 4. So which means that 3 the value 3 is not one of the interest in this moment. So let us see the practical example in VS Code. So we're going to look at pass statement with examples now. So for I in range 5, if I is exact 3, so we need to pass, which means the placeholder will do nothing but still keeps the syntax correct. So if we print I, the result will still be 0 up to 4. So let us see the output. Module 2 practice.py. When I run, we find that 3 indeed has been printed. 3 indeed has been printed too. So in this section, we will be looking at while loop and also focusing on counting. So while count is equal to 0, so while count is equal to 0, while count is less than 5, count the price will be we need to print the value of count. So and we also need to increment the value of count. So I hope you understand from the previous explanation what's happening here. So let me print and see our output. So printing our values, we get 0 all the way to 4. In this section, we are going to look at while loop, also using pass or skip function. So in this case, it will act as a placeholder too when no action is needed, as we have just seen previously. So for example, I is equal to 0. So while I is less than 10, I plus is equal to 1, which means we are incrementing by 1. So it will increment until we reach 11. So the program will be satisfied. So if I percentage 2 is equal to 0, we need to continue. So which means that if it's an even number, then we need to continue printing, which means we will have to skip or to ignore even numbers. Then what we're interested in this alternatively, we're interested in odd numbers. That is it. So let us see in the VS Code. So we're going to look at while loop with continue statement. So if we say I is equal to 0, so while I is less than 10, I increment by 1. So if I percentage 2 is equal to 0, so we continue. So we skip the output when it is even number. So the program will skip if it finds out that it is an even number within that range. Else it will print odd number. So let us run our program and see what happens. We find it is only odd numbers have been printed. Hi guys, so in this section we're going to look at list comprehension as our number 4 section in this module 2. So list comprehensions provide a concise way to create lists. So we have a simple basic syntax. So for example, here new list, and then I have our square brackets, because square brackets implies you are working with list. So expression for item in iterable if condition. So let us see an example. So for example here, numbers is equal to 1 all the way to 5. Now we have squares. So it says that x square or x star star squared, that is um, um, a pseudocode for multiplication or for power or for you can say square. Then you are saying that x star star 2 for any value for values in numbers, we need to square them. So for example, 1 will be squared, then that one will be 1. 2 squared is 4, 3 squared is 9, 4 squared is 16, and 5 squared will be 25. So if we print squares, we're going to get 1, 4, 9, 16, and 25. Yes. We can also use an if function or if keyword in list comprehension. For example, in this snippet code, x for x in range 10, if x is an even number, so I hope so you understand this pseudocode. So it means that x for range in x for x in range 10. If x is divided by 2 and you get 0, which means it's even number, then you need to print even number. So it means we'll have to skip anything that is not a anything that with the reminder, then it means we'll have to skip them. So it means that for example 1 will have a reminder or have some decimal places. 2 we have no reminder, so it will be printed. So we're going to look it in VS Code shortly. So you can also look at nested list comprehension. So for example, a matrix is equals to j for j in range 3 for I in range 3. So range 3, you need to understand range 3 3, which means it's a pair, I and j or j and I. So it means it's a pair. So it means taking the value from pair 1 and comparing with the value in pair 2. So and this is exactly the output. So you can also use else in list comprehension. So we're continuing with what we are just doing in list comprehension. So and we say list comprehension is just a concise way to work with lists. So for example, we have numbers which from 1 all the way to 5, and squared, we want to square them or half them based on the condition that we have to set here. So for example, this list we need to square if the number in these numbers is an even number. So x star star squared if x percentage 2 is equal to 0. So else x divided by 2 or x slash 2 for x in nums. So it means that if the number is not an even, then we'll have to divide it by 2. That is it. So our first output will be 0.5 because 1 is not an even number. So it will be divided by 2 instead. So which will be 0.5. 2 is an even number, so we will square it, which it will turn to be 4. 3 is not an even number, so we'll have to half it, which will be 1.5. 4 is an even number, so you'll have to square it, 16. 5 is not an even number, we'll have to halve it. It will be 2.5. How interesting is this? So let us move to VS Code. Hi guys, in this module you're going to look at list comprehension. So list comprehension is just a concise way to build a new list. So basic syntax is as follows. So expression for item in iterable if condition, and we provide our stuff. So for example, numbers is equal to 1 2 all the way to 5. So you can square the numbers. So square is equal to x squared for x in number. So everything will be squared. So and we expect the output to be the square of each value. So the output will be 1 4 9 60 and 25. So we need to note that this is equivalent to a for loop, but much more compact. So using if in list comprehension, using list, even, for example, you can use even numbers is equal to x for x in range 10 if x percentage x or x modulo 2 is equal to 0. So it means we need to print even numbers only. So 0, 2, 4, 6, and 8. So that will be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So from that range, now we need to take the even numbers alone. So we're going to look at nested list comprehension. For example, the matrix is equal to j for j in range len range 3 for I in range 3. So if we print the value of the matrix, we expect to get the output as 0, 1, 2, 0, 1, 2, 0, 1, 2. So we have 3 pairs. So note that this is useful for creating 2D arrays and grids. So you can also look at a list comprehension with if-else statement. So for example, nums is equal to a list of 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So squared or half values. So is equal to x squared if x module 2 is equal to 0, else we have them for x in num. So if the value of x, if the value of numbers is even number, so it will be squared. But if it's not even number, it will be divided by 2. So note, this form allows inline conditional logic, or what we call ternary style. Well, let us look at the summary of what we have done in module 2. So if, else, and else. If, elif, else, they are used for decisions, and for/while are used for repetition, while the break and continue/pass are used for altering loop flow, and list comprehension just for writing cleaner, faster loops. Module 2 comes to an end. So module 2 is complete. Happy coding, and see you in module 3. Thank you for watching our videos. Please subscribe to our channel.